I want to share with you something that has been kind of on my mind for the last 6 months. And I'm not going to tell you the learning process here. I want to kind of just tell you the story. So when you build software, so I'm talking about SquareCoil, when you build software, there's multiple layers of building this type of software. Number one, the foundation. So I'm going to kind of use the analogy of building a house because it's all relatable. When you build a house, the first thing you have to do is grade the dirt and clean everything up. That's kind of the hardware. You have to go actually buy the hardware and the machinery. Then you have to pour a pad or a concrete slab that you're going to build the house onto. That is the most basic operating system, which in our case, we chose Linux. Then from there, you have to choose a firmware setup that's going to run all of the different softwares that you need to build. So in this particular case, we use Ubuntu, which is the firmware. Now, Ubuntu can then run Apache, MySQL, PHP, and all the different components that we build in order to see the end product or the GUI that our customer sees. When we first started out, we were just constantly building and adding more value to the software. We were building proposals, we were building estimates, a way to job track, milestones. It was always growth. In the last 6 months, let's say 8 or 9 months, in all honesty, if we're being truthful here, in the last 8 or 9 months, we've seen a ratchet up in the errors and the fixes that we need to do in our software. We have found that we brought on a whole other programmer, and his job is 100% problems and fixes. And he's going through the code as we point out and say, hey, this broke, this broke. Perfect example. We had a tasks, and then about 2 years ago, we upgraded it to have replies. And you could see who replied to a task and who replied to their commands that somebody else was giving them inside the system. It was great. It had a little reverse arrow. It indented. You could see who was talking to who. Made it very easy to use and very intuitive. Last week, whenever you hit reply and then hit delete, it would delete out all the code, but would leave a ghost box field there. And the system had no idea what to put in that ghost box field. So it put the year 1969. This has worked for the last 2 years. All of a sudden last week it broke. And now when you delete reply to task, it just leaves 1969 and with nothing else there. Now for us, it's normal, but to the rest of the world, you're head scratching going, what happened to the software? Why is it broke? What's going on? So let me bring you back to that analogy of the building the house. Could you imagine building a house, putting a front door on, and then one day you came home and the front door was gone? And you walk up and you just look around going, where's the front door? And everybody else inside the house is like, oh yeah, it's gone. It just disappeared one day. You got to go buy a new one. You got to go fix it. And what if you thought that was your normal day to day? Wouldn't that blow your mind? You walk up to your house and a window's gone, a door's gone. You're like, what happened here? But that is a day-to-day normal life of us in the software business.